Hey guys, M12 Warthog Gaming here. I'm back with another strategy guide video, and today we are continuing the third level in our Illuminate campaign on Supreme Commander 2. Now, what we're gonna do is we are going to play a mission where we break someone out of jail. Now, in this mission in particular, one of the more important things is going to be base setup. Okay, turning down my TV volume because I can't change my noise gate. But anyway, so this LZ is a little bit hot, as you guys can see here. When you take it out, you definitely want to set up defenses and so forth as soon as possible.
So I can hook into their security network.
Okay.
Tell me I'm not expected to walk through the front gate.
We need to get your ACU inside those walls, so I can use it to bypass the security locks on the main door to the facility.
Those AC-1000s will shred me.
That's true, the AC-1000s will shred them. Now, for the strategic point, the most strategic thing you need to be aware of to pull this off is that your Air Force is going to be key. The reason for this is that you don't have to spend so much of your total number of units on... Okay. On your, Air Forces. Now, the main reason for this is because your units... hold on. Your units will be able to fight both ground and air. Sorry, I had a little bit of brain fart there. Now, the reason for this is that they have fighter bombers. Not bomber and a fighter, but their fighter and bomber is both one. Now, of course, to start out with, you definitely want to move your army up front and get some mass going. And then, as soon as possible, like you would in any other game, go for energy. You definitely want a sizable land force to protect your units and to protect your base. Once you get everything else set up here, what you're going to want to do is start cranking out some of your resources for defensive purposes, such as upgrading your training for your structures. Is probably the best thing you can do. It increases the amount of damage you can do, and there are enemies right behind you. There will be enemies coming in front of you. You definitely want to be prepared to fend off both from all sides. Right now, you're just setting up a small mom-and-pop operation just on the outskirts of one of their prisons. All you need to know. Okay. Now, you may lose a few buildings early on because you're having difficulty setting up, and trust me, I have too. But you don't need to worry. Okay. So, now what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to go to land units, reduced costs, and increase training by 1. Now, what I'm going to do is pretty much just get these tanks instead to repeat build. Now, I know we're not getting a lot of energy at the moment, but we're going to have to work with this. Now, what I'm going to do is set up more turrets. Now, of course, you're going to be raided a lot, and your base is not going to be well equipped for this early on. You really just have to hold on to what you have. Just focus on base setup. That's really all you have to do. Another thing, if anyone wants to do this, which is you also need engineers to protect your base. So, you also want to get those as well. Engineers can heal your unit, so I'm gonna set rally point there. And then we wait for our mass to come in. And right out of the gate, this guy's being healed. Now, you may not start out with a lot of mass, but the fact that you're being attacked is actually more of a gift than a curse early on, as you can actually reclaim mass here. One of the key things, though, is that whether or not, if you're like on a 3v1, do you want to, if you're on the team of one, do you think it would be better to have a 20-minute rush time where you can just build whatever you need for 20 minutes, then go ahead and do whatever you want to? Or do you think it would be better to have them attack you, which at most would probably be in a few small waves? Or do you think, and you get to reclaim the mass, or do you think it would just be overall better if you didn't get attacked for the first 20 minutes? It's really, they really sort of counteract each other in a way. Now, what we're gonna do once we finish digging in and defending this area is start going up here, reclaiming all this stuff, setting up mass extractors and all that stuff. Now that we got a few things to reduce cost, I'm definitely going to get the one to reduce the cost of air things. Now what we're going to do is definitely go for shield generators, that way we don't have to worry about our base being so under attack. But what we also want, and one of the main things we definitely want, is energy income and mass income. Definitely must-haves. Okay.
Use that teleport technology on this operation.
Yes, we could. I mean, you can get it eventually. Okay. So if you make your base and focus on it as being a fortress, you don't really have to wait that long. You don't really have to worry about all your technology that you're getting, because eventually you'll get it all. It's just a matter of how long. And if you focus more on your base defense rather than technology, then you won't have your buildings being constantly destroyed. Because when I focused all on research, it just did not work out for me. It will not do that. If you are being attacked, you should defend your base. Not worry, not try to do something else that will help you in the long run, because if you worry about that, not worry about what's going on now, sometimes that may not help. But sometimes it's good to balance both, focusing on what's going to happen now and later. But I think I've done my defenses. When I get enough mass, I will actually start doing some more stuff with this. Now, what I'm going to do now with this engineer is tell it to patrol all the way over here, and anything on its way that can be extracted will be anything that can be reclaimed will be reclaimed. Okay. Five of these, I'd say 5 for this mission is probably good. As you, 5 to 6 maybe, but as you progress farther into the campaign, you're going to need more because it's going to be harder. At most, you'll probably ever need is 12. Unless you're trying to spam nukes and you need the mass, and you have a mass converter, but you don't have it on this mission. Nukes nor a mass converter, so that's not doable to begin with. But as you expand this way, you're going to need to build turrets. So anywhere you expand to, you have to build turrets along with it. No question, do not question that. If you're not going to spend time to defend the base, then is it really worth defending? Is it really worth making the base in the first place? Okay. Well, now another thing. For this strategy to pull off, most people wonder how are we going to get in there with all the AC-1000s. Now, later on, they're going to tell you that you can hack into 2 other things to do this. Now, you don't necessarily have to do that with your ACU. You just need to be here with your ACU, capture the guys that are in this little thing here. So, you actually don't have to worry about that. I know a lot of people that I've seen who've asked me questions about how to get this mission done. They do that. It's not really a big deal. Some people make it more of a big deal than it actually needs to be. Okay. Now I'm going to put down a mass extractor there. And another research station here. Okay. Doing not bad so far for our mass. I'm just gonna build I think a few more of these. Set that to repeat. Okay. Let's see. Want to increase the training of my land units, and definitely want to increase training of structures, as that will greatly reduce our costs for pretty much everything. Chances are, if they're going to attack by land, because we're fighting UEF, chances are what's on this island here, and on this island here are probably not land units except for engineers, because they cannot go on water except for engineers. Now, most likely, the people who are going to attack this area here, because if they go directly from here with land units, or if they're transported over the water, know my base is directly here and they're going to attack this. Most likely they're not going to attack this area, so what I'm going to do is heavily defend this with AA, but have a minimal amount of ground defenses, maybe 1 or 2 at most, for my heavy point defenses. Okay. So, now I'm going to move up here, get this out of the way. Okay. So, one of the good things about our turrets is that they have long range, so you don't need to make... So if you're trying to so the more you want to defend it, the more turrets you need for bigger waves that attack you, of course. But if you're just trying to cover the whole area, or at least have a turret covering a single area, it's much easier to spread them out, and you can afford to do so with their great range, because they'll always be in range of something. Especially when they're only attacking with a few ships or a few small armies at a time. You can do this. You can easily do this because you'll have one turret for, like, shooting down, like, maybe 3 or 4 units at most. But, of course, as soon as they send in more, of course, you're going to need to build more. But you don't need to worry about it early on, as you don't need to make one, like, every, 2 feet because of the range. It allows you to cover bigger area. And is one of the best things, or one of the things I think is best about the Illuminate faction and all the stuff that they can do. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do that. Okay. So now I got all of this. Now there's one thing you don't really need to do, and that is get the intel thing. That's not quite necessarily needed, but that is completely fine. Now the reason for this is that you can make one of your own, and I believe these ones normally have a much longer range than all the others. Okay. So now I'm gonna set this up here to start reclaiming everything in this area. Once we get a little bit more mass, we'll be able to afford to put down more AA turrets and all that stuff, because trust me, making your base a fortress is always a good option. Unless it's like a mission like the first one in the Illuminate campaign, where you set up a river barge and then like attacked all the Cybran forces. Okay. Gonna set up another AA turret here. Now that we got some research points, I am going to get radar so we can unlock energy and mass income. At this point, mass income and energy income would be a great help to what you're doing. Okay, now that I think I have a decently sized ground force for protection right now, I think I might not add on engineers to assist the factory. I was going to at first, but I don't think that's necessary. Okay. So, the next phase, which I'm gonna go over, is what we're going to do for our attacking phase is set up an attack force to go in here, and it's going to be an air force because it's on water. We could do land because our land units can go on water, and we're going to attack this outpost here. Back into the network with an engineer, does not have to be your ACU, and then do the same over here. Just gotta take note that your enemies will respond and send reinforcements to those places when you do attack. Okay, more mass is needed. So I'm just gonna set that up there. Got more energy. I'll be honest, it'd be really helpful if we had a mass converter, which is just right on after this shield generator. Sucks. Although, now that you have a shield generator, it does cost quite a bit of mass. But maybe setting up one or two isn't such a bad idea after all, though. Okay. Set that one down there to cover our energy generators. And now we set this one to patrol again. Always get as much mass as you can. I've seen people play this mission where they don't even go for reclaimed mass, or don't even know that you can get that. It can sometimes be a bit of a problem if you if you don't do that, because having supplies and focusing on logistics first is probably the best thing to do. Okay. So we're getting 23 mass a second when we're reclaiming stuff. Quite good, I guess. Now we have enough research points to get us our mass income, which is probably one of the better things to do. Okay, so pretty much have reduced cost for all of these. You're probably not gonna need all of the upgrades to attack this outpost here and this outpost here, unless you go in there with small armies. If you have a large army of over 100 units of either land or air going into either one of these, more than likely you'll be able to take it out no problem. But if you're going in here, you're definitely going to need something a lot more than 100, and you're definitely going to need a lot of upgrades if you're going in there directly, which is probably not the best thing to do. But if you do take the time to look on the map, if you attack this area here, reinforcements from these two areas will come and attack you here while you're attacking this main base here, which is the most heavily defended area and the strongest area, whereas this one's only sending out maybe 4 units at a time, as you can see here. So the tactical movement here is to probably take out these smaller areas and lesser defended areas here, then go for the big guy here. Sort of like the same thing you would do if you were to play the Castle Potemkin level on the game Battalion Wars, which is actually quite a good game. Okay. Not quite enough, but I'm just gonna have this one support this. Okay. I can actually afford to have repeat builds and still have my units being supported. So what I'm gonna do is make a Air Force, and I'm gonna prioritize an Air Force over a Land Force, as Air Forces are gonna move faster and be able to be moving directly to their area as soon as possible. Now, once you build up your army, you can go there, attack that area, retreat back, heal your units, attack the other one at the bottom, and then go in for the base kill right there.